students. In the last classes, I explained about productivity, decomposing, and also nutrient cycles. That means bio, geochemical cycles. Whereas today's lecture, I am going to explain about energy flow, which is the last function of the ecosystem. Whereas before we go to the details of this energy flow, firstly you need to understand energy is the ultimate source, ultimate requirement for the organisms. For example, if you wanted to listen this class, you need some energy. When you are listening to the class, if you are making some notes, for that also you need some energy. That means what I'm trying to tell you is without energy no organism on this earth planet can be able to survive, can be able to live. So that is the most important point that you need to understand from energy. Energy basically means ability of an organism to perform work, that is called as energy. Such energy it will be received by the ecosystem by sunlight. That means sun is the ultimate source of the energy. When the sun is propagating light, for example, just only for your understanding I'm telling you, 100 percentage of light it is produced by sun, but earth can never be able to receive the 100 percentage of the sunlight that is produced by the sun, because our earth it is covered by a layer called as ozone layer, and the harmful and very powerful intensified radiations it will be reflected by this ozone, and the light which is ranging from 400 to 700. Of course a genuine fact is 380 to 750, but I'm talking about active radiation, so that's why I'm telling 400 to 700. And this amount of light which is received by the earth planet is called as visible light, or you can also, that means in terms of biological terms, you can call it as photosynthetically active radiation, simply PAR, where this amount of the sunlight which will be received by the earth planet it will be always constant. See, the amount of solar energy reaching the surface of the earth is 2 calories for every square centimeter per minute. So this will never change, it is always constant. That means earth can always will be able to receive only 2 calories for every square centimeters per minute, and this never change. That's why this amount of the solar radiations received by the earth planet it is called as solar constant, because it never changes. Only this amount of the sunlight it will be received by the earth, that is the reason why it is called as a solar constant, or it is also called as a solar flux. Hope you understand what is solar constant or solar flux. Whereas again out of this energy also, all this energy again it won't be utilized by the organisms. 95 to 99 percentage of this light again it will be reflected, and that is called as albedo. Hope you understanding this all concepts we already discussed in organisms and population. That means the first chapter of the ecology, in that light concept. Hope you remember, in this concept all these points we already discussed it, where the active radiation that is utilized by the plant for its photosynthesis, that is ranging from only 2 to 10%, remaining all this light it will be reflected. So this is a very very important concept that you need to understand. Again I'll give a very very short recap, just in 1 or 1.5 minute I'll complete this topic. Sun is the ultimate source of the energy. Point number one. Point number two is, imagine 100 percentage of the light it is produced by the sun, but this 100 percentage it will be never be able to received by the earth planet, because earth it is covered by ozone. Whereas the amount of the light which is received by the earth planet it is called as visible light or photosynthetically active radiation, simply can be written as PAR. This is point number 3. And point number 4 is, again in this PAR, the 2 calories per square centimeters per minute, and this will be received by the earth planet, and this never going to change. That's why it is called as a solar constant or solar flux. This is point number 5. And again, out of this energy, only 2 to 10 percentage it will be actively utilized by the plants for its photosynthesis. And these are the 6 points till now I covered. Very good. After explaining this, you must have understood this is the amount of energy that is received by the earth planet. But for what this energy it is received by the earth planet or by the plants? For photosynthesis, because plants are the ultimate source. Plants are the very important source for the food material. No organism on this earth planet can be able to maintain its life without a plant body, because no any other organism on this earth planet has a direct capacity, has a vital capacity to absorb the sunlight and can be able to prepare its own food material. That capacity is nowhere, you can never be able to notice in any other organism except in plants. That is the reason why only plants will be called as primary producers. That particular most important status, most respectable status, it is given only to the plants, not to animals, not to even human beings. And we think that human beings are superior, but no, it is not absolutely correct. Plants are superior because plants are not there, there is no food. When there is no food, no energy. When there is no energy, there is no life. No one can be able to maintain their life. Such plant, it is producing its own food material by vital mechanism that is called as photosynthesis. So see, here I am showing it also. This is sun, and sun, it is propagating its light, and this light it will be taken by this leaf. And when this light it is taken by the leaf, by using carbon dioxide and also water, it is preparing its own food material in form of glucose. And while this photosynthesis it is taking place, it is releasing the life gas that is called as oxygen. That means photosynthesis, it is producing food, that is ultimate source, and along with that it is releasing oxygen also. We animals, we have to take oxygen only, whereas carbon dioxide is toxic for us. So plants, how useful they are, just by this image only you can be able to understand. They are taking harmful gas that is carbon dioxide and releasing useful gas that is oxygen. And plant, by utilizing the sun, that means by utilizing the sunlight, directly trapping the sunlight, and it is producing its own food material. But no organism on this earth planet has this ability. That is the reason why plants are called as primary producers. Hope you understand, students. But this energy, that means the plants, when they are producing the food material, now the food material it will be eaten by some other animal. For example, let us take cow, some buffalo, some goat, or any other herbivore. So that means the energy from plant, sorry, again I'll go back. Energy from sun, it is transferred to plant, and from plant it is going to some herbivore. Whereas herbivore it is eaten by carnivore. That means again energy it is transferring from herbivore to carnivore. Like that, energy it always changes from one organism to another organism, and that is called as energy flow. Hope you understand what is energy flow. Energy flow means the energy it always transfers from one trophic level to another trophic level. That means one set of organism to another set of organism. Let us take what is the meaning of trophic level. Let us take sun is the ultimate source, and from the sun the energy it is taken by the plants. So all the plants, they will be considered as autotrophs. So this is the first trophic level. Now, from these plants, herbivores, they are taking energy in form of food, and all the herbivores, they comes under trophic level number 2. First trophic level is plants, second trophic level is this herbivores, and from the herbivores, these carnivores are taking the food material. Now all the carnivores which are depending upon this herbivores, they are called as a third trophic level. Hope you are understanding the trophic levels. And always this energy takes place in one direction only, unidirectional flow. That means from sun to plants, and plants to herbivores, and herbivores to carnivores. Hope you are understanding. So this is a sequence, this is a route, this is a pathway in which the energy it is flowing from one organism to another organism, or one trophic level to another trophic level. So energy flow, it is always unidirectional. Hope you understand. But still, any confusions are there, immediately you can message me, I will answer it. Now let us take the next one. Now, this energy flow in the ecosystem, storage and also expenditure, that means flow, it depends upon two basic laws of thermodynamics. What are they? The first law is, of course you know this also actually, because in physics you read a light concept more detail. In biology we don't explain the light in detail. To be frank, whatever we are explaining about light, it is like only 5 to 6 percentage of light only we are discussing. And in physics you will understand even more better than the biology. But how much ever required for our class, that only I am explaining. Such energy, it is never created, that means no one can be able to create the energy, or it can be destroyed, whereas it can be transferred from one form to another form. For example, I'll tell you a very easy way. Sun is producing the light, and this light it is called as a radiant light. Whereas this radiant energy, when it comes to the plant, this plant it is performing photosynthesis and producing the food material, and the food material it is produced in form of glucose, C6H12O6. That means what happened in this, the radiant energy, that means quantum energy, it is converted itself into chemical energy. That means energy can be transformed from one state to another state, but it cannot be created, or you can't be able to destroy it also. And I told two laws, and first law is energy cannot be created nor destroyed, and it can be transformed from one form to another form. Hope you understand. Whereas the second law, it is called as a law of entropy. That means when the energy it is moving from one organism to another organism, or one trophic level to another trophic level, some amount of energy it is lost by that organism by its metabolic activity. For example, just imagine, what am I trying to tell? Try to understand. Plant is producing food material by utilizing sunlight. Now let us take in 10 minutes of time, it has taken some sunlight and it prepared its own food material, and the food material prepared by it, it is around 10 grams. And in the 10 grams, absolutely this 10 grams it can be able to taken by the herbivores. Why? Because when the plant it is preparing its own food material, for its maintenance it needs some food material. So some food material, let us take 10 grams. In this 10 grams, let us take 5 grams of the food material, it is utilized by the plant itself. Now you understood, I think so. Now this 5 grams that are utilized by the plants, and that is utilized for its energy production, and this energy production can be done by respiration. So the total amount of the food material that is produced by the plant body, that means all this 10 grams of glucose is called as gross primary productivity. And from the gross primary productivity, 5 grams of energy it is utilized, 5 grams of the food material it is utilized for its energy production, and that it is called this that you minus it from the 10 grams. Now 10 minus 5 is equal to 5 grams, and this 5 grams are left for the storage, and this stored food material it is called as NPP, net primary productivity. Now a herbivore it is eating the plant, that means from the plant it is getting only 5 percentage of energy. Hope you understand clearly now. That means from one trophic level to another trophic level, when the energy it is moving, absolute energy, the complete energy from one trophic level to another trophic level, it never transfer. When energy it is transferring from one trophic level to another trophic level, some amount of energy it will be lost in form of heat by respiration. Hope you understand. This is called as law of entropy. Clearly you understand? If you clearly don't understand, you don't even hesitate to ask me to make another video also. I'll make another video. See students, I always believe in not completing the syllabus, understanding the syllabus. Let it take one more month. There is no problem. But for example, if I complete the syllabus in 3 months, if you don't understand anything, that is not fruitive, that never give any result. I always believing in go slow, but it should understand to every student. That is my key concept when I am teaching. So hope you understand, but still if you don't understand, ask me. Now let us take another concept. Now trophic levels. Just in previous slide also I explained what is trophic level. Trophic level means, see, I'll take this image as an example and then I'll explain. Now the first trophic level, this is sun. Sun is ultimate source of the energy. Now after sun, this sunlight, it will be taken by this plants. So all the plants, that means all the autotrophs, comes under the first trophic level. Now this caterpillar, it is a taking that means this is a herbivore actually, and this herbivore, it is taking the food material from these plants. Now the this all herbivores, it comes under second trophic level. Now this worms or some herbivores, it is eaten by this carnivore, that means this is bird. Now this bird, it comes under another trophic level, and it will be eaten by the biggest carnivore. And this biggest carnivores, all this biggest carnivore comes under another trophic level. Like that, set of organisms which are arranged in levels, and that levels of organisms is called as trophic levels. Hope you understand what is the meaning of trophic levels. Whereas in this trophic levels, energy flow, it takes place, and this energy flow, it is always unidirectional. And very important concept that you need to understand is energy flow, it is unidirectional, but energy, it is going from one trophic level to another trophic level in form of food. For example, second trophic level, it is getting energy by eating, that means it is food for this, and this is food for this, and this is food for this. Hope you are understanding. So in our ecosystem, that means in this earth planet, energy, it is a transformed in form of food. That's why food is very very important, and that food you are wasting when you are doing your lunch. This is a point every time when I'm explaining in the class. I used to tell many students, when I'm taking rounds in the class, in the corridor, I'm seeing many students are wasting food. This is not a good practice, and this is a corona time, and you are watching TV. Many of you are watching TV, and you are having smartphones also. How many of the people, they are suffering by not having the food? And hunger is the biggest problem on this earth planet. No one can be able to kill this hunger, and we can kill the biggest enemy by planning something. But the enemy which is lying in our body, you can't be able to kill it. That is a big, for according to me, the biggest enemy on this earth planet, it is nothing but hunger. Please don't waste food. If it is more, then you give to some other animal. If you don't want to give to some other person, the leftover food, don't throw it as such. Now you keep it in your box, and when you are going, there are some birds, and there are some worms, insects, and you keep your food over there. You just keep there, and that ants will eat, and that birds will eat, or some dog will eat. So please don't waste the food material. And that is a lesson, that is a reason why this topic, it is included in your syllabus, to make you to understand how important the food is. Now let us take another thing. Now, food chain. In energy flow, I just 1 minute back, I told energy, it will be transferred from one organism to another organism in form of food. And how this food it is going, that is called as the sequence, it is called as food chain. The process of transfer of food energy from producer to the other organism, that means to the carnivores and to the detrivores. And this sequence, how the food it is transferring from one trophic level to another trophic level, it is called as food chain. For your understanding only, I brought this image, and this image, luckily I got it from your NCRT textbook. Straight NCRT textbook may have copied and pasted this image. See, primary producers, see, plants, this is a first trophic level. Now In form of food, it is going to the primary consumer. See, the primary consumer is nothing but herbivore. This is second trophic level. Now from here the food it is going to, that means energy, it is going to secondary consumer. This is third trophic level, all these carnivores. And from here the energy it is transfer in form of food to the tertiary consumer, which is a topmost carnivore. So example also I brought here. See, the first trophic level is phytoplanktons or grasses or trees, where on top of it you can be able to see the second trophic level mein, that means primary consumers may zooplankton, grasshopper and also crow. And third trophic level may birds, fishes or wolves, whereas from here man and a lion. So this is the way the food it, the energy it is transferring from one trophic level to another trophic level in form of food, and the sequence you are calling it as food chain, where this food chain includes various trophic levels. And students, one thing you need to understand, every time trophic level writing it is difficult. That's why T1 that indicates that obviously indicates trophic level number 1. T2 that means trophic level number 2. T3 trophic level number 3. So like that simply you can write T1, T2 and T3. Now, one very important thing I need to tell you. Usually, the traffic levels it ends at fourth level only, but there are very long food chains. In such a long food chains, you can be able to see the T5 also. That means a traffic level number 5 also. This you need to clearly understand. But that is a very complex food chain, and this point I already discussed. The food chain energy flow is always unidirectional, and the shorter food chains will provide great energy than the longer food chains, because as you go long the energy becomes decreased, because I already clearly told and I've shown this diagram also. When the energy is moving from one trophic level to another trophic level, some amount of energy it will be lost in terms of heat. That's why when it comes from sun to this plant, some amount only 2 to 10% it will be taken. That means remaining 98% it is lost in form of heat. When it is going from this to another organism, some it will be go in form of respiration, and from here to here some will be lost in form of respiration. Like that, from one trophic level to another trophic level, energy when it is transforming, some loss it takes place. That's why short chains are more energized or powerful than the long food chains. Hope you understand. Now let us take what are the types of food chains. Now, there are three types of food chains. The first one is a grazing food chain. Very simply, it is called as a predatory food chain. And the next one, it is called as a parasitic food chain. And the third last one is a detritus food chain or saprophytic food chain. Now let us take one after one. The first one is grazing food chain, which is also called as a predatory food chain. Basically, grazing food chain, it is a most existing. That means out of 100 food chains, around 90 plus food chains, it takes place what grazing food chains only. So the most existing and the most important food chains are nothing but grazing food chains. Where what is grazing food chain, you need to clearly understand. This is a food chain which starts from producers, that means plants. So when a food chain it is starting from plants, then that it is called as grazing food chain. Now again, grazing food chain, it includes so many examples. To be frank, today why I am sending my videos late, this also answer is here only. Actually I completed this video last night only, and I thought of giving you by sharp 8 o'clock. But today when I'm sending the video at 8 o'clock, I felt this the early made video, it is not that clear, because in that I explained only the key concept, but I did not pasted any image. But when I am not directly explaining the concept, it is difficult to understand without the images. So I cancelled, I immediately deleted that video, and again I sat to make one more video by pasting all the images required for your understanding. That's why my video is getting late today, but whatever, let us go to the concept. So the examples for grazing food chain are, let us take one after one, then you will understand clearly. So this is aquatic food chain. Aquatic food chain means this is a food chain where it is taking place in the aquatic habitat, that means water habitat. Water habitat, as usually, don't forget the key concept, that is grazing food chain. Always it starts with plants. So here, let us take the aquatic food chain. Now the producers are nothing but phytoplanktons. Obviously they are the group of the plants. As I clearly told, grazing food chain means the producers are nothing but the plants. See, here in this example, the producers are nothing but phytoplanktons. So diatoms, and also this what you call spirulina, spirogyra, and also this what you call hydrilla. So these are all various producers that are present in the water. Now this will be eaten by the zooplankton. See here, phytoplanktons to zooplanktons, and here phytoplankton is a producer, and this zooplankton is a primary consumer. As I clearly told, every time you need not to write trophic level 1, trophic level 2. So I simply wrote T1, that indicates a trophic level number 1. Now from here it is going to the small fishes, and from here it is going to the large fishes, and then it is going to the very very big fishes. So this is how the aquatic food chain it takes place. Now the next one, grassland ecosystem or grassland food chain. In this grassland food chain, here again the producer is plant only. That is the meaning, actual meaning of the grazing food chain is nothing but it starts from plants. So here it is grass. Now from grass it is going to the caterpillar. See this image, then you will understand. From caterpillar to frog, and frog to snake, and then snake to this owl. So this is a topmost consumer in, see here, it is a complex food chain. So it ended with a T5. I told usually the food chains they stops with a T4 only, but in a complex food chains it ends with T5. Hope you understanding. Now the next example also, forest ecosystem. In the forest ecosystem, as usual, a tree. Now from tree it is going to rabbit, and then it is going to jackal, and then it is going to lion. Now see, from plant to rabbit, and rabbit to jackal, and also lion. So this is forest ecosystem or forest food chain. Now the next example, and I think now it is confirmed, it is the last example of grazing food chain. This is, that is desert ecosystem. In desert ecosystem, here also the plants, but here the plants are not normal mesophytic plants, because it is a desert. That's why the plants are here xerophytes. But here it is also a plant, otherwise it don't come under grazing food chain. So here cactus or any other xerophytic plant. See, these are so many xerophytic plants. Okay. Now from cacti to it is going to lizard, and from lizard to snake, and snake it will be eaten by this hawk. Now like this, see, these are all various animals, starting with plants, and then primary consumers, secondary, and the climax consumers. Hope you understand. So these are the examples of this grazing food chain. Now let us take the second food chain, that is parasitic food chain. Parasitic food chain means it starts with primary producers, that means plant only, but when it is going up it ends with the parasites. This is a very very important thing you need to understand. It starts with normal tree. See, this is a normal tree only, but the this parasitic food chain ends with the parasites, and that is a key concept. That means in the middle somewhere these consumers are attacked by this particular parasites. That is a key concept that you need to understand in the parasitic food chain or parasitic ecosystem. See, in the food chain, the consumer it is parasitized. That means it will be attacked or it will be harmed by the parasite. That is a key concept. Now, let us take one example. So here it is a tree. From a tree, it is going to some herbivore like some birds or some frog or some any other grasshopper, like that, whereas it is parasitized by lice or bugs, and it will be hyper parasitized by this particular bacteria and also fungus. So this is a key concept you have to understand in parasitic. It started with the normal producer, that means plant only, but when it comes to the end the consumers are attacked by the parasites, then that is called as parasitic food chain. Now let us take another type, Hope you remember these food chains are of three types: grazing, parasitic. Now we are going to the next type, that is, sorry, this is actually images that will help you to differentiate between one trophic level to another trophic level. Just stop the video for just half a minute and go through that, and then you can understand. Now immediately we'll go to the next one, that is detritus food chain, which is a third type of food chain. Now, detritus food chain, it is also called a saprophytic food chain, exactly opposite to this grazing food chain. Basically, this food chain, it do not stop from the primary producer, that means plants nahi. It starts with a dead and decomposing organic matter. The food chain which starts with primary producers, then they are called as grazing food chains. And the food chains which started with the primary producers but ended up with some parasitic attack, then that is called as parasitic food chain. Whereas the food chains which starts with dead and decomposing organic matter, that is called as detritus food chain. Hope you understand what is the difference between various types of food chains. Now, here for your understanding, I brought one example and also three images. See, it starts with some dead leaves. Of course, I have taken random example, mangrove leaves, and it is eaten by some bacteria and fungi. And whereas it is eaten by some crabs or nematodes, and they will be eaten by fishes, and they will be eaten by even more big fishes or birds. That means the food chain, it starts with a dead and decaying organic matter, that is called as a detritus food chain. Hope you got and see these examples, and even more you can clearly understand when you see these particular images. Now let us go to another concept. Till now what concept you have taken? Energy flow. In that energy flow, to understand energy flow, we explained food chain, because energy, it is transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level in form of food. So food chain. Now we are taking another key concept of the energy flow, that is food web. Oh, sorry. This is a difference between grazing food chain and detritus food chain. Grazing food chain, it starts with primary producer, that means plants, whereas it starts with dead and decaying organic matter, that is a first trophic level. Whereas energy for this food chain, it comes from the sun, whereas here the energy for this food chain, it comes from dead and decaying organic matter, which is simply called as the detritus. And food chain adds energy to the ecosystem, whereas when the food, it is stored in the grazing food chain, that means the light energy, it is stored in form of food in the plants. Whereas in from the plants, when it is going to herbivores, it is stored in form of what I call food in carnivores. But when all this die, this accumulated food material, again it will be added into the ecosystem by decomposing their dead bodies or decomposing their excreta. That means when there is no detritus food chain, there is no grazing food chain also, because plants are absorbing inorganic mineral nutrients, and if this inorganic mineral nutrients will be added by the detritus, and this inorganic mineral nutrients, they will be utilized by the photosynthesis, and they are preparing the food material, and this food material, it will be eaten by several animals, and when they die, again this particular inorganic inorganic matter, it will be added into the soil. So this is a cycle, students, you need to understand, this is actually a cycle by which organisms, this nutrients, they are moving from biotic to abiotic, and again from abiotic to biotic. Hope you are understanding. So these are the differences between grazing food chain and detritus food chain, and these images I pasted just to make you to understand. So when you are going through these images, still more, even more clearly you can understand. See here, if you want just half a minute, I'll explain, because by this time only you must have understand 90%. So it is also started with leaf, and it is also started with leaf, but it is started with a dead and a decomposing leaf, whereas it is started with live, that means a living leaf. That means here it is started with the living matter, primary producers, whereas it started with the dead remnants of these plants or animals. Whereas it is going to various trophic levels that you can clearly notice or observe in this particular given image. Now, the next concept is food web. I think in the name itself, by reading this only, you can understand web means what? Assemblies or a network. When all the individual food chains, when they are joined to form a big network, that interconnected food chains in form of a network, that assemblies only, it is called as food web. And food web, it is very, very stable. Why? Because it is including various alternative food materials, but food chain may there is no alternative food chains, food material, because uh, primary producer, it obviously go to secondary producer, secondary consumer, I'm sorry, primary consumer only. But whereas here so many what you call, plants are there, and so many alternative food materials are there. That means food chain, if earth it maintains only food chains, at a point all the organisms will die. Why? Because if our earth follows only food chain, then the food or the organisms are restricted or confined to take only one type of food material. They becomes more choosy. When they become more choosy, and that amount of food material, or sorry, that type of food material, when it is not available, obviously that organism will die. But in ecosystem, food web it is there. That's why when one type of food material is not there, so obviously you can opt for another type of food material. For example, let us take one human being is there. The human being, he always eating only dal and rice. For example, if dal and rice it is not available, that organism will die. So this is a problem with only food chain in ecosystem. But ecosystem, if it want stability, food chains do not work. This food chain needs some connectivity in between, and to form a network, and that network it is called food web. Now one organism who is not getting dal and rice, now he started eating some leafy vegetable, or he may take some milk, or he may take some curd. That means organism food web gives a better opportunity to adapt for various types of food habitats, sorry, food habits, I'm really sorry, food habitats, nahi, food habits, so that the survival of the organism it becomes easy. Hope you understand. So this is called as a food web. And food web, let us make the differences with food chain, food web and food chain differences. It is a straight pathway through which the food travels in the ecosystem, whereas it is formed by the assemblies of various food chains, whereas members of the higher trophic levels are opted to have single type of organisms or single type of food material. But this food web, it facilitates the organism for several alternative food materials. So these are the most important concepts or points that you need to understand in the food chain and also food web, so that food chain may adaptability will be less, whereas here food web may adaptability towards various types, various kinds of food material will be opted by the plants, so will be opted by the organisms. So adaptability is more in food web, whereas adaptability is very, very less in food chain. So these are the differences between food chain and food web. And today's last topic is, what is the significance of why this food chain or food web must be there in an ecosystem. Here, to balance the organisms. For example, in the ecosystem, I'll tell a very small story, very, very small story. In 1 minute I'll finish it. Let us take one tiger is there. One tiger, he got frustrated with these plants, because when it is hunting this particular herbivores, what happened, these herbivores are hiding themselves in bushes or under a tree, and they're escaping from this particular predator. That's why it felt, if plants are not there, I can see all these animals so clearly, so I can happily hunt and happily I can live. It thought like that. Okay, it prayed God, and it started doing tapasya, understand, Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Krishna. And then this Lord Vishnu has come. Now then, when the God come, so please remove all the plants, so that all these animals, all these herbivores, they are visible, all these rabbits, goats, I can see, and happily I can eat. So God vanished all these particular plants. Then what happened, it started eating all these particular herbivores. One day it came, all these herbivores are lost. In this story, what you understood, see, it is thinking only about its food, but that herbivores are depending upon the plants. Now let us take Let us take one herbivore. Let us take one goat. It started doing tapasya for Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva appeared. See, because of these carnivores, these particular tigers and lions, I am dying, we are all dying. That's why you remove all these particular this carnivores at once. And Lord Shiva, okay, your wish is granted, all these carnivores are gone. Now they started eating all the plants. One day all the plants are gone, and they also started dying. That means you need to clearly understand one important point. Every organism in this earth planet is important. Nothing should be excess and nothing should be less. Herbivores are important and also carnivores are important. If carnivores are not there, herbivores become more, and if more herbivores and plants, they will die. Like that, you need to understand the balance must be created by the food chain, and also to understanding various relations, various feeding habits of other organisms. Whereas for the nutrient cycle, because of the death and decomposing only, the nutrients will be added to the earth, and from the earth again the plants can be able to absorb the food material, and it can be able to participate photosynthesis, and again it can make food material on which remaining other organisms are feeding. So these particular cyclings that are done or that will be facilitated by this food chain and food web. Hope you understand, students. Very easy concept, but thoda carefully if you read, you will understand very easily, because some sort of confusions will be there in this concept. That is the reason why I cancelled the previous video, which I supposed to give you on 8 o'clock, by 8 o'clock. And again I re-edited this particular what I call lesson, and again I'm giving you at 11 o'clock. Okay, thank you so much. And still if you have any doubts, you can ask me freely. Thank you so much.